Good evening, and thank you for attending. My name is Lisa Maurer, and I'll be the moderator for this evening's debate. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. Additionally, please refrain from any interruptions to the debate as it is being recorded for on-demand viewing and post-captioning services. The Citizens Clean Elections Commission is the sponsor for this evening's event. The Clean Elections Act is a campaign, finance reform, and public education measure initiated by Arizona citizens and passed by voters in 1998. The system provides clean funding for qualified participating candidates who agree to abide by the Clean Elections Act and rules. These include contribution and spending limits, foregoing special interest money, and participating in commission debates. We encourage audience questions, so please utilize the note card given to you when you entered the room and hold it up when you've completed it. Our volunteers will pick up the cards and deliver them to me. If you need additional cards, just raise your hand. If you have a question for a specific candidate, please include the candidate's name on the note card. It will be considered during the second half of the debate. We screen questions for clarity to eliminate duplications, speeches, or personal attacks on candidates. The debate is scheduled for 1 hour, so we may not get to all audience questions, but we will do our best. Tonight's debate includes 1-minute opening statements, and then the first half of the debate is going to begin with 2 minutes for each candidate to answer the same question. After all candidates have responded to the question, the first responding candidate will be given an additional 30 seconds. We're going to rotate which candidate responds first each time. And then the second half will allow a different question per candidate with 1 minute to answer. And then we'll end with 1 minute closing statements. So we ask that you remain polite to all of the candidates and give them a fair and uninterrupted hearing, no matter how strongly you may agree or disagree with anything being said. Tonight's participants are Mr. Devin Del Palacio, a Democratic candidate for State Representative, District Number 19, and Mr. Lorenzo Sierra, a Democratic candidate for State Representative, District Number 19. The order in which the candidates will speak has been determined by alphabetical order by last name for opening comments and will progress from that starting point. The order for the second half will be determined by reverse alphabetical order by last name. Mr. Del Palacio, will you start the opening remarks, please?
Absolutely, thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome everybody to Legislative District 19. I'd like to thank my family for being here tonight. My name is Devin Del Palacio, and I'm running to be your next state representative. I currently serve as a vice president on the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board. I've served at the state level and the national level. And I'm running because I have a young family. I have an 11-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter, and a brand new baby girl who'll be joining us in October. And I'm running to ensure that they can grow up in a state in which they're gonna have opportunity to be successful. I'm running because I believe Black Lives Matter, no human is illegal, love is love, women's rights are human rights, science is real, and water is life. I'm running because the politicians out at the Capitol have not been doing the will of the people and the will of the community. And I'm running to represent you as your next servant leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, your opening comments.
Well, first, thank you to the Clean Elections Commission for hosting tonight's event and hosting this for so that we can find out what really matters in our community. Thank you to all of you for being here tonight. Whether you had to make arrangements to, with childcare or had to rush home from work to get here, thank you for being here and being engaged in our community. My name is Lorenzo Sierra, and I have the great privilege of serving as your councilman here in the city of Avondale. And working together as your councilman, we've done some amazing things here in Avondale. For example, we have brought resources to students and to teachers. Working together, we have brought hundreds of new jobs and new businesses into our community. And I have a proven voting record of bringing resources into our neighborhoods that have made them stronger and safer. Working together, there's a lot that we can achieve, and I want to keep doing that for you. You'll see that through my experience and my results that we can achieve those, and I'm here for you, and look forward to the conversation.
Thank you. At this time, we will begin the portion of the debate where each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the same question. And so the first question is going to be for Mr. Sierra, and then Mr. Del Palacio will answer the same question. The question is, what is your position on teacher raises?
What is my position on teacher raises? I remember getting up very early mornings over the past couple of months, bringing donuts to teachers and participating in the Red for Ed movement. And I think that was an incredibly important movement in our community. And I strongly believe that we do need to have those raises. However, where we're at right now with what the governor signed, I don't believe is sustainable or real in terms of dollars. So we need to make sure that we're looking at education holistically, not just teacher pay, facilities, structures, staff. Those are all the things that we need to be investing in, and I'm ready to take that fight. I've got the experience, and I've got proven results when it comes to education in supporting our teachers. Every month I make sure our teachers have quality additional programming, whether it's working with teachers to help build a community that is now one of the newest all-America cities in Arizona is Avondale, and that was a result of working with teachers, educators to improve various education results. So yes, I do support teacher raises, but I want to make sure that they're real and sustainable.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, same question.
Yes, the answer is absolutely 100% yes. And as a school board member, I've been focused for the past 4 years on delivering on those raises. Since I've been a school board member, our board has increased teacher salaries by over 16%. By over 16%. So as a school board member, I've had direct experience in putting together a policy, being confer, to ensure that teachers and quite frankly, all staff have a seat at the table to discuss their salaries and benefits. I've seen the magic of what a great salary can do for an excellent teacher. In our district, we have a retention rate of over 90%. We keep our teachers. They love our district, not just because of our students, but because they know they have elected officials that look out for their best interests. And so when it comes to supporting teacher raises, absolutely 100%, and I'm the only candidate that has firsthand experience at drafting policy to ensure that teachers actually get the raises, which is why I'm making a bid to go down and work on their behalf and the community's behalf at the Capitol, because I have firsthand experience at applying that support. In addition, I also was one of the only school board members who introduced a resolution supporting the Red for Ed movement. I was down there at the Capitol, locked in arms with our teachers, and we ensured that, that their demands were met and that they were going to be taken care of.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the second question. Mr. Del Palacio, you will answer first, and that is, describe your position and experience on immigration's issues.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. You know, 6 years ago, I first got my start off in politics working as a community organizer, specifically for an organization called Promise Arizona, where I organized around immigration reform and civic engagement. So, but for my entire adult life, I've been focused on ensuring that our immigrant community are treated fairly and with respect and with dignity. I have family relatives who've crossed that border, and they deserve the same respect that anyone else does. And what's happening right now with the issue of family separations is terrible, and it's despicable. And as your state representative, I would fight against any measure to do any harm to immigrants. Immigration policy does not have to be cruel. It can be just and it can be fair. And at the Capitol, I would fight against the governor when he wants to deploy the National Guard to go protect our border. I think that is unjust. And so when it comes to experience in working with the immigration community, I have it. When President Obama first signed that executive order administering DACA, I was right in front of the White House with some of my colleagues when he made that announcement with our immigrant community, again, standing hand in hand. So I have a lot of experience working with that community, and I continue to work with them, and I look forward to working with them as their state representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, same question.
About immigration policy. Well, I think you'll all be interested to know, I think my wife and I had our very first date at an immigration rally, and the romance has blossomed ever since. I'm the incoming chairman of the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and as such, I have taken a very strong position on the economics of immigration policy. When John McCain was drafting the Gang of Eight bill that ultimately died, I was at the table with him. He came into our office to work with us on that. So I have hands-on experience working with immigration policy. Looking at some of the things that are going on right now, you're right, family separation is is an inhumane and unnecessary act that our country has taken, and history is not going to look kindly upon it. When it comes to immigration at the local level, I'm very honored to serve with Sheriff Paul Penzone on his Hispanic Advisory Board. And together we are working to make sure that our community is treated, that our sheriffs are treating our community with dignity and respect. And it's being able to be at the table as a credible source. And that's what I've been over the past couple years, fighting for immigration rights, using it as an economic platform to improve our economy. And I will do that. I will continue to fight for our immigrants and our immigrant community at the State House, because I've got the credibility and the experience, and I've got the proven results to make a difference in that field.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, you have 30 seconds to give some additional thoughts. I know. My apologies. Let's finish this round and then I'll give it to you. Okay? So 30 seconds additional, please.
I would just like to add that I was a part of the last 2 campaigns to get rid of Sheriff Joe Arpaio. My first campaign was the Adios Arpaio campaign, and then most recently I was an organizer in the Basta Arpaio campaign. And those were both centered on getting that man out of office. We know the raids and the terror that he inflicted in our community still remain, and now this man is running for Senate. So you can believe that I fought back then against him. I'm going to fight against him as your state representative. Thank you.
Thank you. So Mr. Sierra, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to respond to our first question around your position on teacher raises.
Well, earlier my opponent mentioned that he supported a resolution for Red for Ed, and I am right there 100% for Red for Ed, but he did so against the advice of his legal counsel, which would have put his district in legal jeopardy had he gone through with his resolution as stated. I would never ever put my governing body or my community at legal risk.
Thank you. So we're going to pick up with our next question, and both of you will be answering this. This question is around the ADA Office of Indian Education sponsoring a bill to increase the budget and personnel to reach tribal nations. I'd like to hear, the audience would like to hear your position on this bill. And so Mr. Sierra, you're going to start. So what is your position on the ADA Office of Indian Education sponsoring a bill to increase the budget and personnel to reach 22 tribal nations?
And that is for?
Mr. Sierra will start.
Okay, and I don't know that I understand the question. You're talking about the Americans with Disability Act?
So it's the ADA Office of India Education. And it's a bill on increasing the budget and personnel to reach 22 tribal nations. What is your position?
That sounds like a federal issue, but in terms of the supporting our Native American communities here in the state, I grew up within the shadow of the Tohono-O'odham Nation and continue to enjoy a very strong relationship with the Tohono-O'odham people, as well as the Gila Indian Reservation, which is just adjacent to Avondale. We've worked together on that. When you're talking about specifically about the ADA, I guess I'm trying to understand the question a little bit better. And I still don't know if you're talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act or another agency, but I do have a record of working with the tribal nations and supporting those efforts as well.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, same question.
Yes, I'd be in full support of sponsoring legislation to ensure that our tribal nations get the resources that they need. For far too long, they've been extremely underserved. And if you look at every outcome from education to disease to life expectancy, our Native brothers and sisters continue to face the negative impact, get the negative end of those outcomes. And so yes, I would be in full support of ensuring that we set aside budget to supply the Native tribal community here with additional resources to combat every outcome that they're facing.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, you have an additional 30 seconds to give thoughts.
Right. I've had the opportunity to live in Gallup, New Mexico, where I covered Native American issues and grew a long and great relationship with the Navajo people, the Hopi people, and the Native community can count on me to always have an open door and always to listen and to fight as hard as I can for those communities.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Mr. Del Palacio, you will start. What is your position on a statewide transportation plan, and how might it be financed?
Absolutely. Previously, I served on a Plan Phoenix committee, and we're focused on developing a general plan for the city of Phoenix, and part of that plan was transportation. And so I was a part of that initiative that passed that transportation proposition in which the city of Phoenix voters did approve, and so I am definitely in support of updating and creating transportation infrastructure for our state. Now, when it comes to budget priorities, that's another conversation that we need to discuss. And in that priority, I would list education, healthcare, and infrastructure in that order. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, same question.
Sure. If any of you have ever driven on the I-10 in the morning or driven westbound in the afternoon, you know how desperately we need public transportation here in the West Valley. I also serve on the Maricopa Association of Governments Economic Development Committee, and we are looking at how do we do a strong and equitable public transportation system. That's one of the things that I've been working on. It's one of the things that I'm fighting for. Right now, they're debating whether or not they want to send light rail into Phoenix. If they don't want it, Glendale doesn't want it, we need it here. We need it coming over here. Just right adjacent to this particular facility is a park and ride spot. I would love to see light rail come all the way over to here so that when 75% of the people who live in the Southwest Valley migrate every day to greater Phoenix area past the avenues, that we are able to do that so that we are watching our ecosystem, that we're keeping carbon emissions as low as possible, and that we're getting people back and forth to the jobs that are there, and also that the jobs that are going to be created here, and get the workforce here and get that moving. So yes, I fully support that, and I think we need to extend Prop 305. I believe it's Prop 305, which was the Phoenix proposition that put money into the regional transportation system, and I will support any citizen-led proposition that does lead to improved public transportation. And as a city councilman, I also voted for our Zoom expansion. That means for 50 cents a ride, you can get on in Avondale and go to many parts of our community in a safe and secure manner. So yes, I am full support of public transportation.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, your additional 30 seconds.
Yes, I would just like to add that for 3 years, I served on the Maryville Planning Commission, in which we worked hand in hand with Valley Metro on ensuring and looking at those transportation plans of bringing the light rail down here to the I-10 and Avondale Boulevard. And they've extended those deadlines pretty, far out there, 2040, 2035. And so as your state legislature, I would continue to work closely with our transportation department and other entities to ensure that they're meeting those deadlines because it is vital and it is an issue of equity. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Mr. Sierra, you will start with your response. What can state government do to reduce poverty in inner city of urban areas?
Boy, that's the big $60,000 question in our society and in our country these days. You look at the poverty stats, we're at about 25% poverty, especially in Arizona and in the West Valley. I grew up poor, been poor most of my life. I know what it's like to have the bill collectors coming after you. I know what it's like to have more money or have more month than money. And I know that one of the things that is the great equalizer is education. And if we can invest in education, that investment will help make that next generation a little bit wealthier, and hopefully that comes back into our communities. One of the other things that I'm working on right now is to ensure that we have fund managers who are taking our municipal bonds, our pension funds, and bringing those into our community, because right now, when those funds get allocated and those funds get invested, they're not coming into this community. I want to make sure that those types of funds are coming into here, because poverty has been, we had a war on poverty since the 1960s, and I think poverty is winning, and we need to do more things around pay equity so that people have the ability to pull themselves out of poverty. And again, education is the #1 way that we're going to pull our children out of poverty, and I look forward to working on this issue. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something I have experience with, and I look forward to helping to solve that problem as your state representative.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, same question.
You know, I was raised by a single mom, and she's here tonight in audience. And my entire life, she's always worked 2 jobs. Very hardworking woman. You know, she had me at a very young age, but this still wasn't an excuse for her. She's always been one to bust her hump, but it was never enough to make ends meet. And so I asked myself, why? Why is it that now, 31 years later, we're still asking ourselves the same question as why? Why do people continue to work 40 hours per week and still not earn enough to make a living wage, make ends meet? I think it's unacceptable. And as your state legislature, I'll be sure to protect the voter mandate, which is Prop 206, which increased the minimum wage and guaranteed sick time. Number 2, education. You're going to hear that reoccurring theme tonight. We need to do a better job at fully funding education. Currently, we're ranked 49th, 48th in per pupil spending. And again, it's a matter of budget priorities, folks. There's a real issue when we spend over about $25,000 per inmate and just $5,000 per student. That's a real issue, and we need to address that, and that's budget priorities. But again, I think that we need to give folks a chance to earn a living wage. We need to ensure that no matter what zip code our kids are born in, that they receive an equitable education. Equality is not the same as equity, and I say equitable education. And then lastly, to wrap that all around is healthcare, access to affordable healthcare. I truly believe that someone should not have to choose between sending their kid to a doctor and providing a roof over their head. And that's what I've seen when I'm out there walking and talking to voters out the doors. And so as your state legislature, I would support a livable wage, fully funded education, and affordable health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, your additional 30 seconds.
You know, one of the greatest pride points for me in Legislative District 19 is the hard work of the people. When you look at the people of this district, they are all hardworking and very diligent people. And even though that hard work doesn't translate into wealth, so we have to make sure we have the safety nets for those people. I've done it before as a councilman, and in my volunteer work, I will continue to work to make sure that people are lifted from poverty and into prosperity.
Thank you. We'll do one more question in this round, and Mr. Del Palacio, you will start. What can the state government do to promote the conservation of more affordable housing, and where should this housing be located in District 19?
Great question. Look, affordable housing is going to be key to uplift families all around. We have a huge issue here. On any given night, we have over 500 homeless youth, okay? We have homeless veterans who are out there on the street. And so affordable housing is going to be key. And I support working with the developers to incentivize them to build more affordable housing. It's non-negotiable. And affordable housing doesn't have to mean less than or less quality than. If you go drive on Dysart, there's affordable housing right then and there. They're quite different from the affordable housing units that I grew up in the Cofield project off 19th Avenue in Buckeye, in which they recently renovated. And so I'm a huge supporter of public housing. I grew up in it, and if it wasn't for those programs out there, I don't know where I would be today. And so it is needed. And again, I would work with the developers to ensure that it is equitable and that it's high quality and that it's located right here in the district. As in terms of where in LD19, I think there's plenty of opportunity in the Maryville sector. There's some opportunity in Tolleson. We can really place it wherever we want, but that's going to come with first working with the stakeholders and the community to get their input on where the need is, and then from there plan where those homes should go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, same question.
I'm really glad to have heard the word incentives, because when I came on to council, our housing starts were in single digits. I led the efforts to bring in an incentive program that really spurred our housing start growth. We went from single digits to about a couple dozen to a couple hundred, and as I sit here today, we have anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 housing starts in the greater Avondale area. Those homes are a mixed use of townhomes, executive homes, and it's a wide swath of homes that are going to be available in this community. Not only that, but we have new roads coming in, we have a new freeway coming in, and that's going to spur the growth. So when we talk about affordable housing, yes, we have that coming in. The incentives that I put in place have brought those homes here. We have some higher quality multifamily housing coming into the district right now. That's affordable housing that is high quality and safe for people. As to where it's going to happen or where we're going to put that, we are one of the very few cities with opportunity zones. This is a designation by the federal government, something that was passed in this last budget, kind of snuck in, and it gives people tax credits on putting it into low-income zones, whether it's housing, multi-housing, retail. We have 3 of those in Avondale. I'm actively working as we speak with various nonprofit and other organizations to make sure that we are putting high-quality multifamily and high-quality single-family homes into those opportunity zones. So when we talk about affordable housing, I'm doing it right now, and I look forward to doing it as your state representative.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, your additional 30 seconds.
I would just like to add that affordable housing has been around for a very long time, but I'm in the mind frame of now thinking about solutions. How can we solve this problem? And one of those ways we could solve this is by putting real people down there that are servant leaders that are going to work on behalf of the community to put the interests of working folks first and corporate interests last. And that's how we're going to solve this issue of poverty and also affordable housing to ensure folks can live a self-sustaining life. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will transition to the second part of the debate where each candidate will receive a separate question with 1 minute to respond. Remember that you can still submit questions via the note cards and direct them to specific candidates. So the first question is going to be for Mr. Sierra. So Mr. Sierra, an audience member would like to know your position on supporting increasing public school funds via private school vouchers.
I do not support private school vouchers in any shape or form.
Can you expand on that?
You know what? We have a robust public school system. We need to fully fund that. The private vouchers are going to subsidize folks that could afford that otherwise. I think we need to divert all of our resources into public education.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, your question. What is your position on affordable child care and how to fund it?
Affordable child care is key to giving families and parents an opportunity to go out and earn a wage to support their family. And right now, the federal government has given the state of Arizona $56 million, but the legislature and Governor Ducey refuse to use that money for child care for political reasons. And so the funding is there, and I propose that we utilize that $56 million that we receive from our federal government to go ahead and create a program that's going to give parents a hand up, not a handout, in terms of affordable child care.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, an audience member would like for you to share any policy that you have authored or introduced as a city councilman.
Oh boy, there's been quite a few things that I voted on and been able to work for. Some of the things that I'm most proud of are working with the education. We just voted to put a $50,000 line into our budget to help support STEM and whether it's STEM or field trips or anything. So that's going to help supplement some of our teachers. They'll be able to apply for that. I also voted to put $100,000 into a fund that we distribute to local nonprofits, and those things have helped with VITA, which is the Volunteers in Tax Assistance. It's helped with the Agua Fria Food Bank. We've fed people, we've put it into Meals on Wheels. So I'm really proud of the things that, the policies that have helped lift people up and give them a hand when they needed it most.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, what is your position on the legalization of marijuana in Arizona?
I 100% support legalization of marijuana, and here's why. Number one, we decriminalize it. Currently, right now, if you get caught with any sort of marijuana, it's a felony, and you're done forever. It's going to be very difficult for you to find a job, and now you're labeled. Not only that, it's a justice issue. 4 out of 5 African Americans will be more likely tried than their white peers when it comes to the possession of marijuana, and that is not right. Number two, if we legalize marijuana, we could tax it like we do alcohol and tobacco and use that funding to support education. And that's another revenue stream that we can utilize to support our schools and children. And number three, I've worked with a lot of medical professionals and I've seen the research, and it is not a danger to public health. We need to get rid of that myth. This war on drugs was created as a myth to target and marginalize communities of color. And so again, I support 100% legalization of marijuana and taxing it like we do alcohol and tobacco, which by the way, kills more people every year.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, an audience member is interested in your position on passing an Arizona service tax.
Pardon?
What is your position on passing an Arizona service tax?
Okay, so that's one of the ideas that's been tossed about in how to increase money for education and other things. So you're talking about your haircuts and your tax preparer and taxing those sorts of services. I think everything needs to be looked at. Our education system needs to be funded. We need to catch up with the rest of the country. And if our kids aren't catching up in their grade levels, we are going to fall behind from a monetary standpoint. So I think everything needs to be looked at. Everything needs to be on the table when it comes to tax policy. We have a 20th century tax system. We need to bring it into the 21st century. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at. So service tax, I think, is something that needs to be looked at holistically as a way to make sure that our schools are funded in the manner in which we need to assure student success.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, what is your position on the use of public funds to pay for private school vouchers and charter schools in Arizona?
Absolutely against you. I'm absolutely against using public funds to pay for private institutions. Scholarship vouchers or empowerment scholarship vouchers, which is a lovely name that the Republicans down at the Capitol give it, harms our public education system. It reduces our funding. And you see what public schools, and as a school board member, I know this best, we don't get to pick and choose who we serve. We serve everyone. That's children with disabilities, ELL, wherever they're at, we meet them at the door. And so I am against using public funds to go towards any private institution.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, what is your position on Prop 706?
I'm not familiar with Prop 706.
Look it up.
Pardon?
Just a moment.
Anyone else have Google?
Okay, we might come back to that question.
Would that 7 possible with 2? Perhaps that's the only prop I can think of in a 06.
Okay, we'll come back to that question. Okay. Mr. Sierra, what impact do you think increased minimum wage and mandatory paid sick time has had on small businesses?
Right when that proposition was being introduced and debated, I was on Horizon with 3 people who were ganging up on me. I was the only one in support of it because I think that that minimum wage, if you see it in other cities where it's been implemented, it has not put a drain on the economy. It has not put a drain on our economy. We are at the lowest unemployment we've ever had, and so I don't think the minimum wage is an issue there. Healthcare healthcare was part of the question, or was it healthcare part of the question, or was it sick time?
increased minimum wage, and mandatory paid sick time.
Right, and I think mandatory sick time was also a critical portion of that. I supported that as a member of the Hispanic Chamber. I support it as an individual. I'll support it as a member of the Arizona legislature so that when they bring it up and they try to dismantle it, I'll make sure that that's not what happens.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, an audience member would like to know what you would say about a weakness you have and what you are doing to improve it.
Absolutely. This really is a job interview, isn't it? And so one of my weaknesses, and it's no secret here, that I have is balancing time with my family. It is tough. When you run for public office, oftentimes when I get home, my daughter's already asleep, my son's already asleep, sometimes even my fiance's asleep, and it's tough. It's tough when you live this, when you want to live a life of service to others. And so trying to find that balance is unique. And as a weakness, I'm constantly trying to work on as someone who aspires to continue to serve. As a school board member, I've spent very long nights and very long meetings discussing education policy that affects our community. And again, so I would say that while that balancing act is a weakness between service and my family, that's one that I'm constantly working on because I believe family is at the core of everything you do. And without their support, I'm nothing.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, what is your position toward the expansion of regulations on gun ownership in Arizona?
In terms of gun ownership, I know that there's a lot of responsible gun owners in Legislative District 19, but I'm a father, I'm a husband, and when I see the mass shootings on TV, it absolutely breaks my heart. And I know that we have to do whatever we can to make sure our kids are safe. And to that end, I will do whatever I can to make sure that our gun policy reflects that. Right now, our criminal background database is only about 2/3 complete, and that's according to Governor Doug Ducey. At the legislature, I'm going to work to make sure that that gun background check is 100% complete and that people who should not have guns do not have guns.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, can you speak to your position on legislation that would protect and champion the LGBTQ community?
Absolutely. This one in particular is especially important to me. As a school board member, I introduce and authored a policy that protects our LGBTQ students and staff. I introduced a policy to update our non-discrimination policy to expand that definition to include gender identity, sexual orientation, because it's critical. No student should ever have to go to school feeling threatened or bullied because of who they love and how they decide to live their life. So as your state representative, I would fight to update the state non-discrimination policy, which currently does not include protections for any of the LGBTQ community. And because I have firsthand experience in doing that at the school board level, I'm confident I'm going to make it happen at the state level. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, what is your position on supporting additional resources for education, and how should they be financed?
Additional resources, that is one of the things that I'm very passionate about. When we look at some of the bills that I want to introduce, I want to make sure that our after-school resources are available so that our students can achieve the greatest success. For example, in Cashion, I was able to secure the funding that brought a brand new computer lab into the community. Now, this computer lab allows students that don't have access to a computer the ability to do their homework and other assignments, and so that they can stay on par with their other students. So yes, I believe that we can do that from a public standpoint, looking at the tax system as a whole. I think private businesses are looking to invest in education as well. They are also at stakeholders in this as well. I work with a number of nonprofits. We are bringing millions of dollars into the scholarship system. We're getting kids to college. We are making sure that kids have the resources they need. It's all hands on deck. Everyone needs to be working at it.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, what are your views on funding for CPS?
Look, the Knights of Child Protection Service, they're extremely underfunded. Some of the caseworkers have an enormous amount of caseloads. As a matter of fact, I had a relative who was a family counselor and caseworker, and her load was up to 100 cases sometimes. It's impossible for any one human being to manage a caseload that big when we're talking about the most neediest of our population, and that is our children who are living in sometimes homes that are full of trauma. I know all too well about that. I grew up in a home similar to that. So I am in full support of supporting our CPS to hire quality, trained individuals that can go out there and meet the needs of our families who are facing these difficult issues.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, an audience member would like to know something that you appreciate about Mr. Del Palacio.
Mr. Del Palacio is a very talented individual, and I think he has an extremely bright future. And I really admire his service to the community, and I hope that he continues to work as a private citizen to do all the great things that he's doing in the community.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, an audience member would like to know something that you appreciate about Mr. Sierra.
I would say ditto, and that Mr. Sierra is a very passionate individual who's focused on ensuring that our community moves forward. And so, and I hope that no matter what the result is of this race, and that we continue to do that. You see, a true measure of someone who cares about the community is when you get knocked down, are you able to get back up? And so when it's all said and done, no matter what's set up here or what happens out in the community, we still have to work together. And I'm confident that we'll be able to still do that.
Thank you. Mr. Sierra, what is your position on expanding tribal gaming?
You know, I am proud to have stepped up for the Tohono Nation, the Tohono Gaming Enterprise, when the enterprise was facing delayed tactics from the government for their liquor license. I helped bring that back. So I think right now, based on the most recent compact with the governor, we're pretty much where we're going to be at. I do want to make sure that those revenues are used appropriately. I think that I'm in full support of the nation using that to really bring up that community. So I'll always support tribal gaming.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio. What do you think can be done to reduce recidivism in Arizona?
Great question. Well, the first thing we can do is get rid of private prisons and invest more in education. If we build a school, we can close a jail. Another part of that solution is to put some dedicated funding towards some training while our folks are in prison, where they can develop skills and leave prison with a trade. So this way, when they make their transition back into the civilian life, back into society, they can be productive. I worked firsthand as a career specialist, working with folks who are rehabilitating. I worked with veterans. I worked with homeless people, developing their resumes and developing their strengths and helping them transition their skills into society. And so I believe we need to invest in resources to train these folks, so this way when they get out, they can get reliable work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sierra, an audience member would like to know a little more about your campaign funding sources, specifically with regards to political action committees.
Oh, sure. I have received money from various political action committees, among them being labor groups and some other organizations here in our community. People who are working to make sure that good qualified people are getting into the legislature. I think that everyone in this campaign has asked for those resources, but they're not given to everyone, and I was able to receive some of those. So, you know, I think on July 15, My campaign finance report will be out. I encourage everyone to take a look at it. I have nothing to hide, and I hope that you can take a look and see who is funding my campaign.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, an audience member would like to know what you would change in education to allow Arizona students to compete at the national level.
Absolutely. And again, it's putting more resources and creating more trade programs. So when our students leave high school, not everyone has to go to a four-year university. We can invest and create trade programs and actually invest in the nonprofits that are out there already doing the work. And part of that initiative will be to also restore funding to the community colleges. Currently, right now, the community college system receives zero funding. Zero funding our community college receives, but yet they're the ones who offer the certificates, the welding trade apprenticeships, etc. And so we ought to invest in our community college, invest in the nonprofits that are already doing the work, and invest in various degree programs that our students can enroll in after high school.
Thank you. All right, this will be our last round of questions. Mr. Sierra, what is your position on the role of labor unions in Arizona, a right-to-work state?
You know what, I am extraordinarily blessed to be supported by our friends in labor, and if you'd allow me, I'd pull out my card. I'm a card-carrying union member. My father was a teamster, worked in the copper mines. My grandfather had a great living. My grandfather's about to turn 100 years old, and he still has a pension from his 33 plus years in the mines in Morenci. So it was the unions that helped make the American middle class after World War II. We've gone away from that, and that's one of the reasons that we have the poverty levels that we do. So I will always support our brothers and sisters in labor.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, what is your position on the taxation of digital goods?
Absolutely. I am in support of taxing digital services. If our brick and mortar businesses have to pay taxes, I believe those that do business online should be able to pay those taxes, same taxes as well. And we start talking about additional funding streams for education, that can very well be a viable stream in which we can draw from. Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to our closing statements. The first closing statement will be given by Mr. Sierra.
Well, first I want to thank the Clean Elections Commission for hosting this event. I want to thank all of you for coming out here today. And I think through the course of this discussion, we see that that experience and results really do matter. And together we have created some of those results. When vandals desecrated our historic cemetery, I organized a candlelight vigil, and working together, we showed that in our community, love is stronger than hate. When our community elders said that they'd like to see Billy Moore Days come back, I led those efforts. Billy Moore Days is back, and our community pride is stronger than ever. And when our community said that we need to improve our academic outcomes, I led the council efforts along with folks like Don Gerundo over here, and working to improve those results. We are now Arizona's newest All-America city. You've voted for me before. I'm hoping that through my experience and my skills and my results, you'll vote for me again, and that we will show the world what West Side Pride is all about.
Thank you. Mr. Del Palacio, your closing statement.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. For the past 4 years, I've served you as your school board member. I've worked as a community organizer. I'm the only candidate up here that's been endorsed by Education Union, and I promise to bring my integrity, my passion for community and service down to the Capitol. I'll be frank with you, I'm not a politician. I am not a politician, I am a civil servant. In this game, you can either be a civil servant or a gatekeeper. Gatekeepers are the reason why nothing has gotten done down at the Capitol. It's the reason why our state continues to be in an influx of, and we're battling over education and the basic needs of people. We need a servant leader, and I hope that tonight you saw the real difference between two candidates, one who is progressive and one that's going to fight to put you first and not that of big money and corporations. With that, I hope I earned your vote, and I look forward to working with you after this debate. Thank you.
Thank you. To our candidates, we thank you so much for participating in our forum. And to our audience members, we thank all of you who take time to come and inform yourselves before voting. We encourage you to visit www.azcleanelections.gov/voter-dashboard for a customized experience to find information on the primary election, the candidates, the issues, and to view this debate on demand. Please fill out the debate evaluation form and return it to one of our volunteers. Your feedback is important to the commission and will help improve future debates. Thank you all for coming tonight, and you are welcome to stay and speak directly with the candidates. Good evening.